Because I came in as Mark Whitmer, I'm still a co-host, so I'll let people in.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Mark.
Never fails. As soon as the meeting starts, the phone starts to ring.
Okay, now we know whose phone that is. Oh, I see Cal. There you are.
Hi there.
Hey, Cal.
Sorry
What's up,
I'm
Cal?
late.
No problem. Welcome. All right, everybody. Welcome to the May 4th Caroline Town Board Agenda meeting. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the website as we've been doing since the pandemic started. I would like to begin the meeting by acknowledging that we received a petition with 156 signatures. And the petition, I will read the petition. So we, the undersigned, petition the Town of Caroline Town Board to table any non-essential resolutions and local laws until regular town board meetings are reinstated back to normal in-person meetings. Decisions are being discussed from the previous and current year, and many of our citizens feel that they are being left out of discussions and are unable to voice their concerns. COVID has contributed to citizens feeling isolated or being isolated. Not all citizens in the town have reliable internet, if at all, or have access to a computer. Many of us have questions concerning the proposed trail. New paragraph, it has been discussed, but many questions have not been answered. Is there really a need for trails that we already have on state land in our town for biking and hiking? What is the cost? Where will the money come from and to build and maintain? Who will do the maintenance? And then final paragraph is, we feel that the dollar store should be reconsidered. The proposed site is on Route 79, Sladeville Road, which is a state highway that has approximately 6 businesses, along with a church, school, bed and breakfast, apartment building in approximate 1.5 mile stretch. Does this disrupt the town or a few residents? Wouldn't this help with our tax base? We feel that we have residents that would benefit and possibly make their life a little easier if we had a local retail store. The Brookton Market and Dandy Minimart does not necessarily carry affordable everyday essentials. The town board should look at the pros and cons and what would be good for the town. So I do want to acknowledge receipt of this petition and thank you. I do want to offer some clarifications and information. So I recognize that during the pandemic, the way that we hold our town board meetings and communicate with the public has necessarily changed. And one of those changes has been holding town board meetings by remote teleconference in order to promote the safety of town board members and our residents. And we've done this in compliance with state regulations. So, and we're committed to assuring a safe protocol in our processes. So I do want to mention though that I am available at the town hall personally or and we are all available by email and phone and are happy to receive comments or hear from the public. We have opened the town hall Wi-Fi. It's accessible from the parking lot. We've made every effort to make ourselves and meetings accessible under the circumstances of this pandemic, including, as I mentioned earlier, posting all recordings of meetings. Comments from the public are always welcome and can be submitted to us via our town board email or to the clerk, who always will distribute those to us. Or sent, or they can be hand delivered to the town or mailed. We are currently installing an audiovisual system in the old town hall that will allow hybrid in-person remote meetings when that is deemed prudent. So we are committed to following best practices to protect ourselves and the public in face of this pandemic. So the trail was mentioned. We really have not been discussing the trail for a very long time. Please feel free to reach out to me or anybody else on the board if you have questions. Remember that the trail folder on the town website under current topics has a lot of information, including answers to a lot of the questions that have been asked. We have been working with NYSEG very diligently on a good agreement for use of their property as a recreational trail. And when we have that agreement, we will update everyone with information session and a public hearing as promised. And I really feel like this is an exciting project that will be a great thing for the town. I won't say a lot about the Dollar General. That's not really something that the town board is dealing with now. That's not on our plates. So, but I do want to reiterate that we do welcome public comment. We may not agree, but I'm happy to discuss and take concerns, and I do want to understand concerns that people have about any issue. And that's my statement, and I guess I will stop there, and if any board members want to follow up on that, they're welcome to.
Sure. I also want to thank folks for submitting that. I think it's always helpful to hear from the public. And I certainly appreciate people's desire to return to normal life, whatever that is, but certainly where we can be together in person. I definitely feel that and understand it. I would say to our community, all members of our community, the single greatest thing we can do is to practice preventative measures with COVID-19, including vaccinating, and continuing to wear masks until, perhaps we reach herd immunity will be probably the single greatest factor that will allow that to happen.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I just one piece of, I guess my one comment to add is just that I think the issue of these different types of meetings with access is a really important one, and one of the things that might be a silver lining even to the pandemic, if there are any, in terms of really figuring out what the barriers are to both in-person and remote, because there are certainly many people who could not attend in-person meetings and probably wished that there were another way. And so I think, I can certainly speak for myself and my own commitment, and I think that the board shares this in really assessing what the best and most equitable ways are to have people be involved, both in person and remote. So I appreciate the petition, and that we're continue to explore.
Thanks, Catherine.
I'd just like to add that in the context of our having to go virtual, it has been extremely reassuring to witness the volume of participation from the public that we have had at these meetings. Interestingly enough, we've had a much higher volume of participation in our monthly board meetings through this venue than we have had, I think, ever since I've been on the board physically. And that's why it's going to be really exciting to be able to come up with a hybrid model so that we can continue to offer access to the public who can't come to the meetings virtually. And we are going to be faced realistically with limitations in terms of space and distancing, in terms of how many people in the public we can accommodate when we do go back publicly, which we'll have to work out for safety purposes for all involved. So it's really important that we continue to discuss this and think about this, and the new AV system that's going in is going to be very helpful.
Well, it's my desire that we can get back to an open in-person public meetings as soon as practical. And that to have the hybrid system will be nice for people that can do it virtually and in person. And I really look forward to that. So, whatever we can do to help it happening. I was very discouraged to hear a release from the CDC a couple days ago that they feel the country may never reach herd immunity. So, and that's that's unfortunate. But I hope that it's just that the Zoom meetings are just, to me, just two-dimensional, and there's something about just the in-person meetings that just I really relish and I miss.
They're definitely two-dimensional. I agree with that. So,
I mean, I'm thankful
to
that
meet in person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thankful that we've got them, that it's not 1910 and we have to figure out how to.
No, it has many, I mean, sort of, speaking, Zoom, we could have done Zoom before the pandemic, but it's, for some reason, it just like never occurred to me, but it's an amazing tool. So I'm really.
Yeah, no, but this system we're putting in will give us the best of both.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that are homebound that maybe would like to be able to come and put in, their personal input, and now they'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm excited
as well.
Yeah, cool.
So,
Thank you, Cal. Okay, so thank you for the petition, and thanks everybody for your feedback. I guess I'll now call for an opportunity for privilege of the floor. If anybody would like to address the board, you can do so by raising your hand. If we can see your hand, that'd just be fine, or you can do the blue Zoom hand if you want. I'm not seeing any blue Zoom hands, so okay. All right, so I'll move on to the agenda for tonight's agenda meeting. We do have a few business items to tend to before we proceed to committee reports. So the first item is that I will offer resolution. I will put forward the resolution for the lease purchase financing analysis for the 2022 Western Star snowplow that Bob has asked to purchase, and so the financing analysis compares the installment payment plan that we've been presented, which is 5 years at 2.2%, shows that the total cost would be $251,390. Interest payments, $15,776. Two separate bonding estimates, 5 years at 1.07%, results in an almost equivalent total expenditure by the town of $250,555. And the difference is $835. And then a bond anticipation note at 1.75% yields a total cost of $255,601, which is more than $4,000 more than the installment payment. So before I go on, I'll ask for a second for this resolution.
I'd like to second it.
Okay, Thanks, Cal. So based on the foregoing comparison, showing that the installment purchase for financing this truck is competitive at the least with the bonding arrangements, and it allows us to move swiftly to take advantage of current pricing. I'm proposing that we hereby recommend approval of the lease purchase agreement with Key Government Bank.
I second that.
Great. Any questions about that? So this has been a learning experience for me, looking into the bonding.
It's really great to have the comparisons. It makes it so clear.
Yeah. Great.
What's the easiest and most straightforward for you, Mark?
Well, the installment purchase is definitely the easiest because, you know, with the bonds, you have to engage, you know, a financial advisor and an attorney to negotiate the terms, and it adds up fast. So,
Yep.
I mean, with approval of this, I'll be submitting the forms to Key Government Finance tomorrow for the financing.
That's good. Gets it done.
Yeah. So I will mention, so there's one decision point we still have to make, and that will be, I think Bob presented us information for, I can't remember what the terminology was, but for starting payment now, or deferring for a year. And, you know, I'm inclined to begin payment now to reduce our interest burden. So, but that's not within this resolution. That's a separate thing.
I agree with that.
Likewise.
Start paying now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. We can afford it, and I think it makes sense to do that. This also is good in terms of you know, understanding this financing, and you know, so I'll be and we will be working to you know, we need to flesh out our long-term capital purchase plan for highway equipment still. I don't think we still have that quite inked out like the way we want it, to get the period of purchase between vehicles for the remaining vehicles, and so I think these numbers will help us do that. So if there are no further questions, I'll call for a vote for approval of this resolution. All in favor of?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you. So with that, I'll move forward to the next resolution, which is its companion resolution to approve the purchase of this snowplow truck by lease purchase agreement with Key Government Finance. You know, we have previously discussed how for right now, this makes sense in order for us to move forward with replacing one of these snowplows that's aged, to reduce repair costs and keep things moving. So this will be the third snowplow replacement in 2 years. So we've made big strides here. So did I get a second on that one?
Second.
I'll second that too.
Great.
It's also the third snowplow replacement in 20 years.
Yeah, but we weren't around all those 20 years.
No, I know.
So, so I think Tim had the second on that. Any other questions
Yep.
or concerns? Cal?
No.
No? Okay. Then I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Great. Thank you.
Just going forward, does the trust company, you know, the old local bank business, does the trust company have a You know, I mean, Key Bank is fine, but it's, you know, it's a regional bank, and if we can throw business to our little,
No, I talked to Tompkins Trust, Cal, and they offered the bond, the BAN.
okay, that was their approach.
I
Yeah.
asked them about an installment purchase because I was trying to get apples to apples comparisons between banks, so but they don't offer that
Yeah,
service. So
okay,
it's just
good. Well, thank you for checking. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Beating the bushes on that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Velvet and I were calling around the banks last week, so
Yeah.
it was interesting too. So
It was interesting or mind numbing.
at first it was mind numbing. Yes, it was. And then because I didn't know what the heck any of this stuff was, but then the interesting part was that some of these products that I was advised to check out by our attorney and other people that the banks were not familiar with. So it
It's
wasn't.
interesting.
And I think it's because they don't all offer these products. So, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. All right. So
Quick question, Mark, real quick, if I could.
absolutely, no problem.
So when I presented it before with, you know, payment in arrears, if we move that to paying forward, where does that come from this year? So the reason,
It would come from the highway equipment line.
okay, so the reason it was presented with the arrears, is that we're gonna take delivery of this, late fall.
Mm-hmm.
So that would put our payment, you know, first part of the spring, new budget. We could plan for that payment. With this year's part, kind of brings me into the loader paperwork that I had sent, you know, to everybody. If we do that, it will change plans that we've had kind of in the works for months and months now. It's going to kind of change that.
Well, we don't need to make that decision tonight, right? Is that true?
As far as the loader,
No,
that-
no. As far as the arrears issue.
Right. I didn't. Maybe I missed a part. I wasn't sure if that's something that you voted on first.
No, that was
Okay.
not.
I wasn't sure if I missed something in there.
No, that's okay. I brought it up because it's crossed my mind. So, but we will need to, you know, I want to look at the reserve funds and the budget amounts and everything carefully.
Okay, so if we just hold that thought until I explain the loader process here in a little while, that maybe it'll clear a few things up.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Catherine, would you like to offer the next resolution?
I knew you were going to ask that, which means I need to pull it up. I didn't know that you were going to ask me to do that. So let's see.
Or one of us?
I'm happy to have you read it, but yeah, it might be more efficient, although I can get it pretty.
However you'd like to do it.
Here we go. Mhm. Okay. Okay, you ready for this one?
Sure.
Okay, so this resolution reads, whereas the word gender is limited in its scope and meaning, and whereas the statement related to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in the town's comprehensive plan aims to reflect a commitment to a broad range of identities, and whereas the town board wishes to explicitly clarify this commitment in the town's comprehensive plan, therefore be it resolved, the word gender shall be changed to the words gender identity and/or expression in the aforementioned statement of the comprehensive plan.
I'll second that.
All right.
Seconded by John. So great. I will just point out, and so great, thank you. And I, in the printed copy of the agenda, I didn't know whether people, I had suggested some wording edits, which you included in that, which I like, but I didn't know if everybody did. So I'm just pointing out that what you read is
Yes, I read yours.
okay. And
I didn't know if that was handed down.
do you like that? It better than the previous version? That's my question.
I think they're equivalently adequate.
Okay.
The only thing that is different is an acknowledgement, which might not be a bad thing, that this change reflects a willingness to
So,
go back
drum
and
roll here.
redo things if we need
Listen.
to.
They will see it.
She's the new board.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
Um,
I think, yeah, I think we're good now.
The
Go
only
ahead.
phrase that was different was just an acknowledgement, you know, a specific call out that it wasn't this way originally, and you know, we're willing to revise things as per need, but I don't necessarily think that needs to be in the resolution. That's the only thing that I think was substantively different, and I wouldn't even call it substantive.
Okay.
Thoughts from other people? I mean, I don't know.
This seems fine to me.
Um,
Okay. Good. Thank you. I just want to make sure you're happy with it. I could go either way. So,
No, we vote. Do you need me to call for a vote, or you call for a vote?
Mark does.
you froze up. I'm getting some freezing action on my Zoom here. So,
We're waiting for you to call the vote.
oh, okay. So thank you, Catherine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thanks. All right. So with that, I will now introduce the Town of Caroline solar siting law. And it is hereby introduced as presented in the agenda. After some very rigorous work by the planning board, for which I'm very grateful.
Mark, would you mind summarizing for the public Guy Crow's praise of the planning board and putting this together?
Oh yeah, I would be happy to. I should. I don't. It was. I will paraphrase since I don't have my email up here, but at the Guy reviewed the solar siting law. He had a few comments, but really they were commentaries, not suggestions for change. One thing he noted is there is a little
What's the name of our lawyer?
Guy Crow. So anyway, then he said, he made a very nice comment. He said, you know, this has been done very carefully. There are no redundancies. Everything, you know, cross-checks very well. And I'm not accustomed to seeing this kind of work. This is, you know, really excellent. So it was, I consider high praise from coming.
That is a worthy compliment.
It certainly is, yeah. And I did pass that on to Bill, and he passed it on to the planning board. And you know, he acknowledged that that Will Lawrence has done a lot of very careful work on it, and so much appreciation for all of that hard work. So with that, I will offer a resolution to set the public hearing for this local law. Would suggest May 19th or 20th. Would that work for either of those days work for folks?
Sorry.
Make it work.
19th would be better for me.
What is that again, Mark?
I'm offering a resolution to set
didn't-
up the
I just didn't hear the date.
19 Wednesday the 19th or Thursday the 20th of May.
I am on vacation that week, actually.
Is there Wi-Fi?
Let me-
Well, the marvels of assuming we're going to have to do this by Zoom, the marvels of being able to do this on Zoom is that John would be able to review the transcript after vacation.
That's true.
So Tim, which day did you say was good for you?
If we had a choice, the 19th is just a little bit better for me. I could do both.
Okay. Shall we go ahead and set it for the 19th then? 7 p.m. That'd be good. So with that, I'll offer a resolution to set the public hearing for the solar siting law for 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 19th of May. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Cal. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you. And now I will open the meeting for committee reports.
Maybe I'll just begin. The zoning commission met last Tuesday. This was its second meeting, and it's familiarizing itself with area zoning codes. The next meeting will be the 18th, which is in 2 weeks from now. They're meeting every other week, but they decided to delay a week because in the meantime, we've received a robust number of proposals for a planner that would lead them in the process. So we're hoping that potentially we could have somebody presented to the board next Wednesday in order for them to be in place for the next zoning commission meeting.
Tim, what's the procedure? Who's interviewing those people?
Mark, do you want to just take over
Sure.
here?
So yeah, so the process I've proposed is for me, Tim, and Jean to interview, to screen and interview applicants, and then present a summary of those interviews to the board and a recommendation for the planner.
Great. So when you say there'll be someone by next week, is that the kind of chosen candidate?
Right. So, yeah, I've scheduled interviews for for late this week and early next week, and we're all smooth sailing. We're hoping to have a recommendation to the board by the business meeting next week.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions for Tim or myself? Great.
Exciting.
Yeah.
We have really high quality applicants for this too, so it's really good.
Yeah, I think so too. Great. Any other committee reports?
Sure.
John, go ahead.
Sure. So I'll update everyone on our meetings around the highway facilities project. So Bobby, Cal, and I met with 3 firms on, what was the date? It was the 23rd of April. And the firms we met with were Hunt, Keystone, and LaBarge. They were 3 of 6 firms that submitted to the project. And so we did our interviews with each firm and had really good discussion about the scope of the project. We asked them to really walk us through their approach, how they might work with us, spent a lot of time on Q&A, and left the meeting feeling very good about the interviews that we had. As a next step, we asked each of the firms to submit to us both a possible timeline to work with on the project to get a sense of kind of when they envision they might be able to do it, as well as cost of their services. What we learned in their interviews is that really there are 2 pieces to this. So you may remember from the document that went out when we were soliciting qualifications that there were a number of parts. And so really the first 3 parts are able to be sort of quantified and quoted. Those are things that involve possible site selection, site evaluation, and sketching out sort of parameters for a potential site. The next phases actually involve design of a building, which is a much more intensive lift than a sketch. And of course, then assistance with things like funding, as well as selection of a construction firm. So each of the firms really let us know that that is a separate piece of it. And so we would have phases 1 through 3, a pause to see where we were, and then go forward with the next piece when we were ready and when we felt that we had the funding. I did ask each of them to try and give us their best guess of ranges that something could be, recognizing that depending what the final design of a building might look like, that would influence costs, right? But that's money that would ultimately be probably rolled into a bond if we were to do that, or whatever our financing structure was. All 3 firms did submit that data to us, and I've shared that with Cal and Bobby to get sort of their final sense of a recommendation. And my intention is to bring that together into a document to share out to the full board for discussion at our next meeting, and hopefully as much like with the planner project, to be able to move forward with our next steps. I will say that there was a wide range of scope in prices, but the firm that stood out to us the most following interviews actually had the best price as well, by a fair amount. And so we're pretty satisfied with where things look at the moment. And that's my report.
Great, thank you.
And for Tim, Mark, and Catherine, I'd like to add that John has really done an excellent job of shepherding this along.
Thank you, Cal.
It's been very professional. One of the things too that John didn't mention that I felt was a key component was the firms also do work with a public component that recognize that, that they help put forward to the public what is proposed and what is needed and why, because they can't help but be sticker shock.
That's an excellent point. Yeah.
And that was something that I don't think any of us had necessarily didn't expect of a consultant, but that they, that is their part of their package is to help with garnering public support.
Yeah, I appreciate
why
you
we need to
raising
do
that.
this. So,
Mhm. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And what was kind of gratifying was that all three firms mentioned that in their interviews.
Mhm.
And so that gave us confidence that this is really in this profession very much on their radar. And that as they were talking to us, they were also looking at, are there any knowledge gaps that we might have, and trying to help us address them, which we would want in a consultant. So I was well pleased with that.
Are there
Bob, I
questions?
don't know if there's anything you want to add to it. You're there as well. Please feel free if you did.
I think you summed it up. But I also wanted to say, thanks for keeping this, alive and rolling. It's actually been great, and then it's actually been, fun in the aspect of looking at, this project in a not so much a totally different way, but it's opened my eyes, to an even bigger picture, than we had planned out on our original, goal here a year ago. So thank you.
Yeah, likewise, and I appreciate it. It's a good team.
So, so we'll have a discussion about this with Q&A next week, is what you're thinking, John?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is sort of send out a summary to everyone, and I'll include a link to all the documents. Some folks I know like to do deeper dives. That's cool. And then I'll come forward with a resolution to move forward, but certainly we can discuss questions and anything folks want to know. And, again, I'll try and do that tomorrow so that you have a week to really dig in. Some of the documents, particularly the initial qualifications, are, how shall I say this, robust. Some of them are 70 or 80 pages.
Yeah, I mean, I looked through the proposals today, John, and I would just offer that you need not try to summarize all that. It's pretty.
Maybe just the highlights from the interviews and the pricing submissions, perhaps.
Great.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Yeah, that would be a lot of summary.
It's mind numbing. I agree.
Well, I want to give my colleagues a shout out for really digging in and doing the work to get to the point of even, because there were 6 of those 80-page documents. And so, props to Cal and Bobby for digging in and doing it and helping us to get here.
So I mean, we did, Jesse did forward the whatever you call it, the more specific proposal from LaBerge. So we've seen some of that. So would the board, like, digging down on the particulars of that be something going forward from this, or what is your thinking about that?
Not sure I followed the question, but let me answer what I think I heard. So my intent would be to have available, of course, the big proposals, but also then the follow-up with the timelines and the proposed costs, so that you can see everything.
Yeah.
And then we kind of do a summary document to walk you through our thinking, so that you have something to sort of benchmark it against.
Okay.
And then hopefully that would give people enough info, for questions and sort of how we approached it. Right.
But I say, like, when you and I discussed this recently, you were suggesting that once we have a selection, then we could have an opportunity to direct them more specifically based on, what we've learned in our thinking, things like that.
You mean the firm once we're at the next phase?
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. I'm following. Okay. Part of the first phase of the project, once we engage a firm, would be absolutely to meet with key stakeholders, and that would definitely include the board.
To narrow the focus or whatever.
Or to understand it or to ask questions, right? Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Any other thoughts or questions for John?
Looking forward to seeing it.
You say that now.
Great.
No,
Okay,
seriously,
great.
thank you, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, John. Great. Any other committee reports?
Well, I could go next. One of the things I was asked to look at was some sort of commemorative award for a highway employee over 50 years. And I said I'd look into what's been done in the past. And well, the second longest serving employee I could find was Deke Whitaker, who served for 40 years. And what he got on retirement was this. Can you see it?
No, I can't tell what it is.
Looks like a dump truck to me.
Oh, it
Tonka
is.
truck.
It's a Tonka truck.
It is. It is a dump
The
truck.
Tonka truck, and it said Town of Caroline on the side of it, 40 years service.
Wow.
And Deke also got a belt buckle. Well, I think for a 52-year service employee who still comes in to help plow snow in a pinch and fill in where needed, I think we could do a little better. The rumor was Lester was waiting for his gold watch. And I would like to propose that the town have a budget for a commemorative award for this employee. Something, I'd like to go with the gold watch inscribed with for 52 years of service to the town of Caroline. Thank you. So, there are concerns on my part that, well, is it setting a precedent? Does it leave with some bad feelings, maybe on some other long-term employees? But, 52 years, it's a long time. So anyway, I'd like your thoughts, feedback of what we should and could do for a long-term employee like this.
My gut reaction, Cal, is I agree with you. I think 50 years of service in anything is amazing. I agree we probably couldn't do a watch for every single person who passes through the town. And I mean, no disrespect to people with long terms of service. And I know there are some folks that retired from highway with, I think, at least 25 probably. But 50 is truly astounding. and I think if you hit a 50-year mark, you should get a watch.
You can get 2 gold watches if you're.
Yeah. But I can't find any town employee that ever got a gold watch. And the rumor was Lester was waiting for his gold watch. Well, I can't find anybody that ever got one.
Did we ever have
Some
one who
people I
worked
can't.
50 years?
Some people I can't check with. They're
Yeah.
they're gone. So
I'm curious if he is possibly the longest serving town employee. I mean, I don't know if
Could be.
yeah.
Yeah, I would dare to say that he is. I think it's a milestone that hasn't been hit yet. So,
Yeah.
and like I say, it's not 50 years, it's 52.
Right.
And I think
I don't think we have
Lester's
to worry
70.
about precedent.
Excuse me?
I don't think we have to worry about a precedent
No. Okay.
problem.
So, I mean, now, Deke Whitaker's son, he has a gold watch from working at Morris Chain, which I thought was quite nice. It was a Bulova. It came from Schoolies, and it was engraved just for his. It was 35 years of service, and it had a little stone in it on the wristband. And it was, it was nice. It was something that was precious to him. And so I guess I would propose something like that as a commemorative watch for Lester Dean. I have no idea of what something like that costs, or the other side is to work back. Give me a budget, and I'll try to stretch it as far as I can. I mean, even $500, it's $10 a year over the last 50 years. Lester graduated from high school, went into the U.S. Army, served in Vietnam, and then went to work for the town of Caroline as soon as he was discharged from the Army. So
I
Yes.
have
Okay.
no idea how to provide guidance on that, Cal, because I haven't owned a watch in so very, very long.
Yeah.
I would be comfortable with getting a little information,
Yeah.
send
Why
it
don't
out to
you
us, but
get some watch prices for us, and
yeah.
okay,
we'll figure it out. So,
okay. I'll have that for us next week.
Cool.
okay. I mean, yeah. Let us know what you find out. You can let us know in advance of the meeting or whatever. Let's.
So that we can talk about it at the meeting. So it's not okay. I'll do that.
Yeah, whatever. Great. Thank you.
So,
I mean, I personally would prefer not to have a long discussion about the price of a commemorative watch.
Likewise.
no, it shouldn't be.
And
But
so
you just
hopefully we can do this, we can get the information in advance.
Yeah.
yeah. Here's the cost of the watch. Here's the cost of the engraving.
Agreed. No, thanks, Cal. Anything else? I don't know if I mentioned it before, because it happened, I don't know, last month or whatever. But anyway, Cal worked with Richard Brooks, our maintenance guy, to refurbish the bench that was absolutely rotten at the foot of the flagpole. And Cal supplied some cherry lumber that I guess he keeps in his bedroom under his bed or something. And Richard put it together, and it's beautiful under the flagpole. It's worth coming over to sit and eat your lunch or something. It's really beautiful. So, thank you, Cal, and thanks to Richard.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I guess that's it for committee.
I have a TCOG.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
have a TCOG broadband committee report.
Okay.
So they kicked off the Fujitsu study, and if everything stays on schedule, it'll be another 4 months from now that they'll have the study complete. I have a couple concerns because they're using the data that the state has been using, which is not very accurate because it's based on census block. But also they're not including all of Caroline. They're only including some of the school districts, but not people living in Candor or Newark Valley.
So
what they
I was going to ask you about that, but you said they're not including all of Caroline, or is that right?
because they're not including all the school districts.
Okay. So by not including like Newark Valley or Candor School District, that means they don't cover the physical boundary of Caroline. Is that right? Huh.
Right.
Okay.
Also, so the when they do propose a route for the dark fiber, it'll be geared mainly toward serving the areas identified as currently unserved, where you have a census block and no one has access. Other people brought up concerns about that they can still address about their proposals for how to structure service because depending on what types of services you assume are going to be provided by your service providers, it changes the regulatory framework that you're working in. For instance, if you're offering TV over internet versus voice over internet versus gaming, that changes which regulations apply.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your work.
Any
on that.
questions? Oh, and I wanted to just mention that Emily Adams sent out a notice saying that one of the political parties would be showing a presentation about the Electric Power Board of Chattanooga, which is a small electric power municipal that is also supplying gigawatt bytes per second up and down in Harris County, Tennessee, where Chattanooga is located. And also Anna Callis, our current assemblywoman, has introduced a bill add to the general municipal law that municipalities can be broadband builders and providers. But it hasn't made it out of committee yet.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Will. Any questions for Will?
Mhm.
Great. Well, thank you for your work on the broadband committee. You're meeting next month again.
As far as I know. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah. Thank you, Will.
I don't know if everybody wanted a brief update on the Energy Independent Caroline light bulb distribution. We've distributed 7,000 bulbs, still got 3,000 to go. Feel a little bit behind the 8 ball just from pandemic stuff and distribute, just things. We're going to try to make a last minute push or last couple months push to get those rest of those bulbs distributed and the final report into the NYSERDA. We're going through the list and just, asking friends, people, acquaintances, neighbors, hey, did you get your free light bulbs? See if we can have a little stash at the town hall. You can go there and get them. Or, if you just got a neighbor, hey, did you get your free light bulbs? If not, hey, you can go down to the town clerk and get them. You haven't got to go get a dog license. Or just, call Emily Adams. So just a push to get the last of them out. Mark said that, NYSERDA, the deadline was the end of June, and NYSERDA has kind of been cooperative to give us a couple more months.
Yeah,
Unless Mark has some different feedback on that.
a little bit, but that's pretty close, I guess. I mean, I think, yeah, I think I copied all of you on the email reply. So Don provided, as the EIC chair, gave us a summary of the meeting. So,
Yeah.
So I think, we're trying to wrap it up. I think
Yep.
it's important to remember that the 10,000 bulbs was an arbitrary number. That's just the bulk order we chose. So, I think, we should feel victorious at getting 7,000 bulbs out to half of our residents. And a key thing in our program was to make sure that when we give them out, they're actually replacing less efficient lighting, so that it's changing the carbon footprint or whatever. So I think it's been a really good effort, and NYSERDA suggested that perhaps, and we'll be discussing this, I guess, that, he said, well, maybe one of your neighboring municipalities would want to do a small distribution for the remaining bulbs. So we're trying to figure that
That
out.
would be neat.
Yeah.
I don't know if there would be any pushback, but I installed my bulbs about as soon as we got them, and a lot of them have not met anywheres near with the expected life expectancy of the bulbs. I'm
Oh, so-
surprised how many I've replaced, but they've been in adverse conditions, called a dairy barn.
Are those the
So,
bulbs
because-
Cal, were those distributed
Yes,
in our program?
yes,
Okay. That's disappointing to
they
hear.
were. So I was very disappointed. I mean, I replaced 3 of them today,
That's really
and they haven't
disappointing.
been in. Yeah. So we might want to be prepared for a little blowback.
I know that we did work.
Because I've bought other ones at, Lowe's and stuff, and I haven't had, well, anyway, it's just, maybe it's a fluke. But
Disappointing to hear. Great. Okay. Thanks,
Yeah.
Cal. All right. Great. Thanks, everybody. So the minutes of April 14th, I'll offer those for review and approval.
Second.
Great. I guess we're going to I'm just going to ask for comments and then approve them by voice. That's what Jessie recommended that she'd like to do instead of assigning a resolution number to each approval. But, Cal, did you get the minutes of our executive session to Jessie? The resolution we drafted?
Well, I felt that you kind of had gotten her the resolution as it read, so, because I saw that in the draft minutes, that it seemed, and it was what I had written down.
Oh, okay. Maybe I missed that. Okay, I'll follow up with you on that.
Okay,
But we should make sure that's there. Great.
Yep.
Great.
so I felt like, my writing it down was more of a formality because of what I saw in the draft minutes was what I had written down.
Okay, well, that's very good.
Oh.
That's perfect. So, great. All right. So with that, I'll offer approval of the April 14th minutes. And now, let's see. So agenda items for next week. I do want to offer one agenda item that I would propose to have an information and discussion session regarding the town board and court responsibilities in assessing court needs to keep that moving forward. So I think it would be good to have that discussion, and I think it'd be good to have the town attorney join us to clarify any points of confusion, and he's let me know that he would be able to attend and is willing to. And I would invite the justices, obviously, to join us.
Good.
Great. Okay, so that's one thing. And let's see. And then we'll have the highway proposal discussion, whatever. So, okay. And we will hope to have a recommendation, a resolution recommending a planner. And what am I forgetting? I'm surely forgetting something.
Who's signing vouchers next week?
Me,
Yeah, there you go. Vouchers. That's Catherine and Cal.
Mm-hmm.
oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Can't wait.
When will they be ready?
Somebody's got to do it.
Tomorrow
Cal-
morning, 7 a.m.?
Cal, what did you eat tonight?
Or smoke. Did Cal, did you ask when they will be ready?
Yes. And I'm just being totally obnoxious.
Yeah, I know. I think they're usually ready by Monday. So. And great.
Will Corey have it? Will Corey have a report for us Monday, or
Yes.
Friday,
Corey
Wednesday?
will. Yes, Corey will have a
Good.
report for the meeting. He's preparing that. Yep.
Good.
Good.
And I'll email Cal and Catherine when vouchers are officially ready.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse, I heard you might have an old piece of paper that you found stuck under some book in the clerk's office. And I thought it would be even neat to share it with everybody else on the board.
Jesse, he's talking about the old marriage licenses or marriage booklet that was folded up there that you showed me.
Oh yeah, marriage records from 18. I think the earliest one was 1870, 1879 or something like that.
Wow.
Huh.
I imagine the History Club would be interested in that.
I
Wow.
can't imagine
seen
Bart
that.
doesn't know about them, but I don't know.
Well, it's just, it's just amazing that something like that got moved over time. And, it's just, oh gosh, that's just fascinating.
It is. It is. It's beautiful penmanship, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it seems like something has been lost in not teaching penmanship in school. I mean, I can't read any of my kids' writing.
You should.
Don't worry, the nuns couldn't read my writing either.
I've been wondering about your signature on the vouchers, Cal.
Oh, God.
All right. So, anything else for next week that people can think of? If you think of anything after the meeting, send it. I'll add it to the agenda, but I can't think of anything more. So with that, I will.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
I just needed a few minutes
Oh,
to
sorry,
kind
Bob.
of, I didn't want you to forget about me.
Yeah, go ahead. I forgot you were going to present something.
So I sent everybody a copy of a quote, and just to give you some kind of background information, we've been looking to replace a loader for a while. Our loader is a 2004 and is quite frankly getting pretty tired. We've been working on this for months, and I wanted to get you guys some numbers and to kind of let you know the direction that I was looking to go. We've mentioned it before, but just to clarify a few things up. COVID has kind of screwed a lot of things up. And with that said, a lot of it now is showing up. So parts, and we don't see some things getting any easier in the near future at all. But we put together a quote. I contacted a couple different places. The quote I presented you with was $10,000 cheaper than the other one. So with this said, what I was looking to do going forward is basically kind of like our installment plan that we've went with the new trucks, but a little bit different. The model that I showed you, Danby is currently doing. And what they're doing is basically they bought their original loader outright. And with that, they're trading it in every year. That provides them with a brand new loader for about $10,000 a year. So in the big scheme of it, it's extremely cheap to run this program. With this, we have basically zero maintenance costs or fees, because within that year, we're probably not even going to change oil or anything. I mean, we're strictly going to use this machine for a year. There is, some warranty stuff if we were to decide to stretch it out kind of longer than a year. But this comes with a full light bulb to light bulb warranty for that whole first year. And basically, if we do this for that sum of, about $10,000 a year, every year we can have a brand new loader and never have to worry about it. The quote also shows us trading in our current loader. And when you look at the numbers, sticker shock might get you a little bit. But we've kept our loader so long that basically it's worth about $36,000 from, I don't even know what the original price was on that loader. I'd have to go back and get it. But our equity is gone. We've kept it so long that we basically have nothing left in this thing. So if we were to move forward with this year-to-year thing, we would actually maximize every ounce of potential equity that we could even squeeze out of this thing. So the only problem is supply is getting extremely limited, and the prices are changing drastically every month. I'm sure you guys have seen the price of 2x4s and OSB, and things are just getting crazy. But if we decide to do this, we can get locked in and get something rolling. Which kind of brings me to the next kind of thing I brought up earlier. When we did the trucks, we had put it out for arrears to start the payment on arrears, so that we didn't have to pay basically until next year, next budget season. We could move forward planning for that payment. If we kind of change that with the plan that I've kind of got going forward, it's going to kind of change a few things. We do currently have a budgeted amount in our highway equipment fund to make this loader deal happen and still replace a small pickup truck that we have to. But if anybody has any questions, give me a shout. I can explain, the numbers and kind of break it down a little bit more. And then maybe come to some kind of a agreement next week.
So that's my suggestion, Bob. So I haven't seen whatever you sent today, and I doubt others have either, or maybe they have. But anyway, why don't we, put that on the agenda for examination next week? That's what you're suggesting, right?
Yeah, maybe a little more than examining it. I mean, take some time to examine it now, and then maybe we can, come with a yes or no thing next week. I can let these guys know not to hold it for us and move it along the line or whatever. But
Bobby, in your message, you indicated that this quote was kind of time sensitive. Is there how time sensitive?
Like I said, it's we've got this quote back on 4/26, and he's rewritten it once already. So
okay. Oh, you said the quote will expire. I just didn't know when it would expire. Maybe.
Yeah, they won't actually. If I can get them an answer this month, they'll go with these set numbers that we have, but the numbers are changing, thousands of dollars a month. And it's going up, it's not going down. So But if anybody's got any questions, just give me a shout. I can gladly walk through it. And
Yeah, Bobby, I was just wondering, when we did the trucks, you gave us the really clear graduated inventory of the trucks and the rollout. And it would be helpful to have that for these really big pieces of equipment as well, just so we have a clear sense of
Visualize.
what we're doing and
yeah,
how we're
yeah, I
rolling.
can try to get that together. And like I was saying, this one I'm actually asking to pay for in full with our budgeted money, which actually keeps our truck program going forward on schedule. We're not adding another, 5 years of a big payment. As these loader prices are higher than the truck, the actual real loader price, once you take all our discounts and deductions off, are more than these plow trucks are. So it would actually fit into our plan extremely well if we can jump onto this plan that Danby's currently doing.
I guess so. A question that I have related to that, Bobby, is that if we do this for the loader, we're paying up front, right?
We are.
We're front loading the cost. So it would be helpful then to know how that will impact our rolling ability for the snowplows to continue to replace the snowplows, since we're going to be the snowplows experiencing graduated, as I understand the plan, graduated costs over the next 5, 6, 7 years. So I'm just curious, it would be helpful to better understand how this would figure into that, if you hear what I'm asking.
If I could jump in on that, I mean, that's the beauty of this. I mean, it's kind of the startup buy-in, and then the cost moving forward over the next 5 and 10 years is minimal.
Yeah, but I guess now what I'm asking is if we have budgeted the funds
The
for
capital
the
plan.
startup, the capital
Yeah.
funds for the startup buy-in in view of what we've been doing with the snowplows. That's just what I want clarification on.
Okay.
Yeah, if you hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, now I do.
Yeah.
Because, there's the snapshot of just this year's cost, but then the going forward costs are so much reduced that,
Oh yeah, it's a great, great
how do
idea.
how do you amortize it?
Right. No, it's a great idea. I just think we need to have we don't want to get caught short here.
Yeah.
I think we need, I also, going through this financial analysis for financing, I think it's worth, looking carefully at how we budget and to think about the degree to which we can curtail purchasing things with interest payments with financing. So, that's where the capital plan is so important, to just see how much we can cover using our budgeted amounts. So I think that's a question I have.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant to ask. Thanks.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Bob. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right. Anything else for tonight?
For the good of the cause.
Great. Okay, with that, I'll
We're going to send Cal out into the fields to
yes,
run around and go crazy.
I'll offer a resolution to adjourn.
I'll second that one.
Seconded by
Tim and Cal.
Tim and Cal, and all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. I will mention that I have these, the county has put out these COVID safety yard signs, and I have a few of them. If anybody wants them if they have a good location and would like to post some at their home, a board member or non-board member, and I can get more.
You're more than welcome to put him on 76 Road.
Okay, thanks,
No.
Catherine. I will do that.
We have the whole
You
bottom
can put,
the arrows.
we can put one on Buffalo Road too. I know,
Okay.
I know a place up there. So we can
Okay.
put one.
Your place?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think more than even in front of my house, up in front of the, just north of the barn, because it's just that long straight stretch there with a great, you know, good sight, line of sight.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, super, thanks. John, were you want to
Yep.
say?
We'll do
Great.
one.
Okay, thanks. Will do. Great, thank you.
Put on the sign that if we all get vaccinated, we can go back to in-person meetings.
I'm done. I'm in.
I don't have that sign, but
We can draw on them.
Yeah.
All right.
cool. All right, thanks, everybody. Good
Thank
meeting.
you. Bye.
Have a good evening. Okay,
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
yeah, good
Here,
night.
here.